Hi, welcome to Conversations here on NTA Network. My name is Nike, and as you know, Conversations is a program where we talk about issues that affect me and you. It's a full house today. I'm going to leave everyone to introduce themselves, starting with the man right in front of me.
Chukuma. Chukuma Ohaka. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, I'm Z.
Hello everyone, my name is Omagbishe Baro.
For the benefit of people who, everyone else is a regular, but Bishe, you're not. So why don't you tell us what it is that you do?
Okay, I'm a corporate trainer and educator. One of the things I like to pay attention to is financial literacy and financial planning. And I do some strategy consulting also.
Okay. What we're talking about today is retirement, planning for it. It's something that will happen whether we like it or not. We'll take a quick break and then we'll, take it apart piece by piece. Retirement here on Conversations. We'll be right back.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take its pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start up the conversation from something on the TV and say,
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys. They're not ready to marry.
Yes. So if she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me, remove that picture. There was a day I got tired of all that and I said,
I have started planning for my retirement because everybody must start to plan for his retirement, even on the day of your employment. The earlier, the better. So what I plan to do on my retirement is that particular thing, the work I was doing while on the profession, is what I would like to open up as a place of work during my retirement. Like professionally, as a film editor, I would like to open up maybe a studio or a place, have some equipment, and continue with the work I was doing during my service year. Because some people now, when they retire, they'll be confused.
Make it not be like, say, breeze blow here, you follow breeze go. Breeze blow there, you follow there. So for you to plan for your retirement, or as I am planning for my retirement, I'm trying, in fact, I'm being focused for now, then I don't know what tomorrow holds. I don't know where I'm going to be, but I'm planning big, by God's grace.
I have started planning for my retirement. I have a pension scheme running, and I've started a small business which I hope will grow over the years. Before I retire, I'll know I have something to fall back on.
As much as it sounds big and heavy, every day for me is my last day on air, and anywhere I work. I've never planned to work for anybody for more than 4 years. I think where I am right now is the only place I've ever worked for more than 4 years. And besides that, yes, I'm young. I think my retirement plan is this. I don't take anything I'm doing as a job. The only thing I see as what I would fall back on is my consultancy and my farm.
Now time has changed. It's not like before whereby civil servant would just stay in the office for 30 years, 25 years without having anything in mind. But presently, whereby the system has come, has taught us so many things to do, like the agricultural system, whereby today in your backyard you have a small farmyard whereby you do a little agricultural thing.
I think everybody should plan for retirement from this day they start. doing anything. From the day that your parents are not so much, you realize that the money that's coming out from their pockets is reducing small. You understand? You're like, they're telling you secretly, you're grown, take care of yourself. Then you should be thinking about retirement. And oh my God, I think after being in media for so long, I studied mass comm, done all forms of media. I want some peace and quiet, man. And I want somewhere that is rejuvenating for my soul. I tell people what I want for retirement, they always laugh at me. So y'all don't laugh when I say this, okay? All right, you ready? I love animals. I love animals so much, and I would love to retire to like a ranch, maybe in the east, because I'm Igbo. You know, there's a lot of space, a lot of land there. I want to have horses, pigs, sheep, cows. You know, probably a couple of bed and breakfasts there that people can come and rent out. You know, my grandkids will come over, and when they come over, I'll just use all of them as, you know, you go pick the eggs in the morning we're going to eat for breakfast. You, tomatoes. You go scrub the pigs, you know, all that kind of stuff.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take its pound of flesh.
Where you can actually, everything from watching a program with the child, you can start up the conversation from something on the TV and say, oh, you know.
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys. They're not ready to marry.
Yes. So if she wants to ask something, no, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, you know, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me, remove that picture. There was a day I got tired of all that and I
We're talking about retirement today in the conversation room. We have Chukuma, Zainab, and Bisha in the house. Bisha is more of the expert, so you're going to have a lot of questions being thrown at you.
Okay.
Maybe you want to tell us what the basics are when it comes to retirement and, you know, how to get there safely without, you know, all the stress that comes with it.
Yeah, I think it's a very wide subject area. It starts off from the first day, perhaps people start considering careers. You know, when you are in school, thinking about what you want to do. You know, do you want to work in, you know, in government, in private sector? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? Starting from there, you start to think about your retirement, you know, and it's very important that we start to get people to consider that their first career is, you know, education. Their second career is work or enterprise. And their third career is retirement. You know, and if you start from there, from the very first career, thinking like, in the words of people like Steve Covey, that you should begin with the end in mind. Well, the end is that you will retire. You know, hopefully, if you live long enough to retire. So the only two things that will happen is either you will die or you will retire and then die. You know, so thinking about retirement is very important. Like I said, it's a very broad subject. There are many things inside it. For example, choosing your career, growing in your career, making advancements in your career. Because the more you grow, the faster, the better you grow, the jobs you choose. It all affects your ultimate ability to take care of yourself in retirement, especially in Nigeria, where we have what we call a contributory pension scheme, meaning that the more you contribute, you know, and the more ability you have to contribute, then the safer your retirement will be. So starting from there, making choices along your career, taking care of yourself, even your health, your lifestyle, all of these things, even while you are working, they still add up to the quality of your retirement. Making your own savings and investments to augment whatever it is in your retirement savings account. Understanding how the contributory pension scheme works, how to get the most benefits from your contributions and the investments of your retirement savings. all of these are part of what we will consider retirement planning, and then ultimately deciding when you will retire, and managing your lifestyle and your health in retirement. I hear people, for example, saying very commonly that, when I am 55, when I am 60, I'm going to go and set up a business. And I'm looking at myself in my 40s, struggling. I started a business when I was 33 years old. Yeah. And I can see 10 years later how much energy, how more tired I am. And I'm wondering, how can someone think that at 60 years old, they would be able to run a business successfully? So there are many things that people don't really understand about aging and retirement planning, and they make a lot of assumptions, end up at 60 trying to run a business, and young people are running around you, stealing your money, stealing your stock, and you're complaining that doing business is hard. My answer, you shouldn't be doing business in your retirement.
Okay.
You should be retired in your retirement.
I like the sound of that, even though it's never occurred to me to. Most people always say yes. When I get my gratuity.
Yes, then I'll set up a business.
Then I'll set up a business.
So, some would say when they get their gratuity, they would build house with it. Or others would say when they get their gratuity, they would go into business with it. Unfortunately, your gratuity is not actually your money for business, nor for building of houses. It's actually your money for settling yourself. Retirement. I had a seminar one time, and in that seminar, I had a lot of assistant directors, and the likes in the meeting, and I threw up a question to them, and I asked, and I said, can any one of you here tell me what they will want to do when they become 60? And a lot of them had ideas on what to do. The other one said, once I retire now, I'll go back to farming. I laughed. I said, good. The other one said, I'm actually in school now. I'm studying. I'll become a lawyer, and I'll go back into full-time practice. They all had plans, and I just told them, when I retire, I'll start my vacation. They were like, how? I said, one, it's all about planning. Now, I said, sir, how many 60-year-old people have you consulted as a lawyer to go win your case in the court? Because at 60, you're supposed to either be a son or you should be retiring from your legal practice. So, who would consult a 60-year-old in our world of now? That you have 21, 22 who are sound lawyers. And I asked the other one that said he was going to be a farmer. I said, what strength would you have to go into farming when you retire? That you're going to go into farming. I said, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to become, you do it now. So that when you retire, it's a time you will rest. And that has been the major thing in our career or in our workforce in Nigeria. Most people keep the time of whatever thing later.
Yeah.
So it's only in Nigeria that I hear you want to retire to keep working. It doesn't make sense. Retirement is meant for you to shut down, relax, and start enjoying your old age. That is when your grandkids say, oh, I'm going to grandpa's house, I'm going to grandma's house, and you are there full time or you're on vacation. My friends like to say, I dream big.
But it's usual. It's useful, though. I mean, sorry to interrupt that. You should be busy while you're retired. So it shouldn't just be you lying down on the beach.
No, at that age of retirement,
but not that level
it's not you working for your money, it's your money working for you.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to get to. That's what I was getting to.
I had someone who is highly placed. He worked in a very sensitive organization and was very highly placed. And upon retirement, someone referred me to him to speak with him. And he asked me, told my son, I have this money, but I want to retire. I'm retiring soon. What do you think I should do? I looked at him. The first thing I asked him, what have you done all your life? He told me, and I told him, you're going to retire and do what you have done all your life. Okay. Else, if you retire and do something different from what you've done all your life, you die earlier.
But Chukwuma, we can't all be consultants when we retire. Is that possible?
No, his own wasn't consulting. No, he asked me, okay, I asked him, because his kind of job...
Did he say he should keep doing what he's done all his life?
His kind of job makes him visit locations, stand and do that. So I told him to go into farming.
Okay.
Not into full-time going to agriculture.
Okay.
He should get into something that he can always go around to inspect.
Administration.
Something that he would wake up one morning, he goes, assuming he's doing rice farming, assuming he's not going to, because he has money, that's why I advised him that. he could get into that, and in the morning, he is there watching. Because he's a very good administrator.
Okay.
So, but if he moves out because he's saying he's going to retire, and he goes into, it's not like it's someone who has been into security system, and you want him to retire and go into teaching, or you want him to retire to go in, you could come up with a team of yourselves, and you continue in the line of something you've done. You've been into broadcasting. Now, for you to continue enjoying what you do, you can't retire now and say you want to set up a tailoring shop. But you could see someone, you can't retire now and say you want to go into farming.
Yeah.
Because it might be a bit difficult for you because it's something you've not known too well. But if you retire into what you are in, what you're doing,
Right now.
you could sit in your house, or you could go to various places and continue doing what you're doing, but you're not doing it in active capacity now. And it still challenges your brain, it still challenges your strength. Because if you retire and go home, that's why you see our old ones, elderly ones who retired as teachers, and they go home, and before you know it, one sickness or the other comes, diabetes, high blood pressure, because they've started doing nothing with their time. So if you're retiring, retire into something that will be positive with your time, so that it will take you away from the stress of life. It will take you away from the gossips around your environment. It will take you away from things that could, because at retirement age, you're no longer younger. There are things I could absorb now that I will not be able to absorb in the next 10 years, no matter how much money I think I may have.
Okay.
So you should find yourself into something that could make you absorb some things and look as nothing is happening.
Okay.
So that's it.
Bisha, you wanted to add something to that?
No.
When I retire, I plan on shutting down. I plan on being on some yacht, on some blue ocean, sipping on orange juice and eating cookies, and let my money work for me.
I ask you a question. Because it's important that our viewers understand what it takes. What you have is a wonderful aspiration, wonderful vision, wonderful plan.
And I know you're going to ask me what am I doing towards it.
Well, you're a big woman, so...
Let me give you the breakdown. I started working, let's say, by 12, 13. I started paying taxes at 12, 13 years old. And in the U.S., the day you start working is the day you start saving for your retirement. So every paycheck, they take out a certain percentage and they put it towards your Social Security and then your retirement.
So you're not planning to retire here?
Me, retire here.
Okay.
For what? Hold on. Let
Okay.
me finish my story. Let me finish. See, I cannot retire here. It's not possible. You want me to suffer all my life?
Nah,
So,
our
like
retirees
I
are not
said,
suffering.
So imagine I worked in the U.S. till 2013 when I moved back to Nigeria. That's over like 25, 26, 27, like 28 years or so of working. So some people have 28 years of working experience and they're like 50 years old.
Okay.
I am in my 30s and I have like 20 something years of working, which means my retirement money is long. Because every job you go to, you're getting paid more, you get promoted, which means more money gets taken out and put into your retirement. And on top of that, you gain interest on top of your money with whatever company you decide to invest your retirement money.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here in Nigeria and I'm gaining interest. My retirement money as of when they sent me an email about 4 days ago
Don't say.
quite high. You can't kill me for it because I can't access it till I'm 65. So if you want to come and kill me now, now also be your name. You have to kidnap me then wait till I'm 65. I can't access this money till I'm 65.
Okay,
And if I choose to access it, there's a 23% penalty. So why would I want to lose 23% of my money?
That's a high...
So that's what they do to stop you from
trying
accessing
to...
your money.
Okay, well, for those of us that intend to stay in Nigeria during our retirement time, my first question is, why does it seem like such a daunting, you hear about retirement, and even people who are close to it seem scared of it, because the system that is in place right now doesn't seem to be very fair to our retirees. Both my parents are retirees, and my mom has made one or two comments to say, if you know how much I get as pension, you won't be happy.
So there are lots of issues in there. First of all, when people talk about retirees, in Nigeria today, there are two types of retirees. There's one set of people who retired before 2007. And those people are under what we call the defined benefits pay-as-you-go scheme, which is the old pension scheme. For example, my mother is actually the last set of those people. When those people die, that scheme will wind down and will end.
Okay.
Then you've got the people who retired after 2007 from the inception of the contributory pension scheme. Where, now in the old scheme, the problem was that the government makes a promise to you. First of all, in the private sector, in the old scheme, many private sector organizations didn't have any retirement benefits. We had what we call resignation schemes. You resign or you work for 30 years. When you are going, they give you some check. If the company has money, and if they don't, that's your problem. Then the public sector, we had what we call the pay-as-you-go. Now, the same problem. Very unsustainable because it's tied, the government is making a promise to you in future that they will pay you a gratuity and a pension for life without even knowing or keeping aside. It wasn't a funded scheme, and I'm going to sound a bit technical, meaning that there was no money set aside. It came from the annual appropriation of the state government or the federal government. And we have seen over the years how the revenues of our federal and state governments have declined, mostly because of mismanagement and corruption and lack of vision of the people who are running those institutions. So you find that at the end of the day, people's take on retirement is that it is gloom, because you see pictures of soldiers queuing up and dying on queues in Ikoyi and in Abuja and so on and so forth. But for our viewers, that's the old scheme. So we broke away from that scheme and said, you know what, it's unsustainable. Let's create a new contributory pension scheme, which is a very novel scheme that says, as you work, just like Zainab described, the same thing. As you work, there's a contribution. 10% from the employer, 8% from the employee, a bit different for people in the military and so on. But at the end of the day, the money goes into a retirement savings account. Just like she described, it is invested in fixed income, in the money market, in bonds, in mutual funds, in treasury bills, and it is achieving returns on your behalf. And it is growing, and it is growing quite well. And when you retire, the monies are available to you as a program withdrawal, a lump sum, an annuity for your life. Now, here's where the challenge is. The real challenge is this. Everybody wants to have a good income while they are working.
Yes.
We all want a good income in retirement. And I say this very strongly, and I know that people will think I'm crazy. How productive are all of us to achieving this big incomes that we want? For example, in the public sector, how productive is our public service? In reality, because you see, if you were really producing, if public goods were really creating an impact in Nigeria, if the Nigerian society was better and was attracting the kind of investments and both local and foreign that we need, then our overall productivity will be higher, and then it will be easier to pay people more. So for me, it's a bigger issue than just saying, let us earn a bigger amount. But so when public servants say want to earn a bigger salary, it's all well and good. But are you ready to deliver a higher level of productivity? You know, so if your productivity is not where it should be as a country, then where do we think the money is going to fall from? We are not going to be printing currency and just issuing people credits into their retirement savings account. No. So there is a problem with productivity in our society, and all of us are aware of this. And that's the real issue. You know, so if we get our society to be, look, all my life, we're all people, in the 80s and 90s, all we heard of, Zainab, you weren't with us, all we were hearing was, we need to diversify the Nigerian economy. Till today, we've not diversified the Nigerian economy. So how do we expect that a monoproduct economy in 2020, in this 21st century, is going to deliver us better retirement benefits? So that's some of the reality, you know, a country that is neck deep in corruption and mismanagement of public funds. I mean, there's just so much we can wish for versus what we will eventually get.
I understand that, Bishop, but let's talk about the money that's already in the account.
Yes.
And then I retire.
Yes.
Why can't I access it the way I need
You want to take all of it, Nike? You see, one of the things about a good scheme like
I want a good portion of it.
Yes.
I've worked all my life.
Yes.
It's my money.
Yes.
I should be able to get my money.
The idea behind it is that human beings are improvident in our nature. So the law is not going to allow you to take...
you mean?
That if I give you all the money, for example, you will spend it.
Sorry,
I cannot make a law. I cannot make a law. I don't know Nike, and I don't know the other 20 million people.
Yes.
I cannot make a law that says if Nike is smart,
yes,
then I will allow her to take her money. No, I will make a law that is for general
everyone.
application.
No, but I want to ask Nikki a question. Let me ask you a question as a female.
Yes.
Have you ever not have money and there was no desire for anything? Then all of a sudden,
money comes.
One alert comes
yes,
in. Then you remember that there's this one shoe that you wanted to buy.
Or
hair.
Oh, you buy hair.
But prior to that alert, you didn't have desire for it. It didn't look good in your eyes.
Exactly.
I agree.
So it's the exact same
so
thing.
that's where the challenge
is. If you take
is.
that bulk of that money, you remember that all of a sudden there's that hair, that bulk of hair that you want to buy, and there's this I should be that I don't want the 20K I should be. I want to buy the 100K because I have the money.
And I also need you to understand that the reason for setting up this is to ensure that people in old age are no longer liabilities to either the government or to their families.
I understand that.
Now, when you want to retire and you want a bulk of your money to be paid to you, and you have little, because when you say bulk of your money paid to you, assuming you have, upon retirement, you have 30 million, you're asking for 20 million to be paid. Yeah. And you want 10 million to be spread for a whole number, how many number of years? So who's going to bear the responsibility of the other part of you?
Yeah, exactly.
Because sometimes the essence of setting up a law, because in trying to explain to people, I told them, the essence of having this law is to ensure that even those who were not there when the law was made are covered. You could be speaking from the point of expertise. I know what to do, I know what to do. Yes. There could be 99 people who, assuming we are 100 now, who don't know what to do with the money. And now if the law is made because we have one Nike who knows what to do, what happens to the 99 people? I have heard true life stories of people who retired and assessed their pension, their lump sum. Not even as much as it were. And after 2 years, they had nothing to show about it.
Certainly.
Because sometimes money has power. Money can push you from a particular level. You are not to a level. And that's why it's important that someone who is used to receiving 500,000, if you push that person from level of 500,000 to level of 2.5 million, the person is no longer the person you know.
Exactly.
Because you will see the power of that 2.5 million.
The spirit of the money.
Yes, around that person. Immediately.
You see what all my life, all my working life, I've been buying a premium cable TV subscription, and then because I'm retired, I shouldn't be able to watch that anymore. Is that fair?
No, you shouldn't.
Because I've worked all my life, I should be able to pay for that.
Nika, you're right. But your retirement package should not be what you will live your premium life on. You should, while you are working, have another plan.
And that's what I said. Yes, and that's why I said.
After I've saved all that, then I should still
Nika,
save.
how
much is left?
Nika, what percentage?
What are you saving? 8%?
Do you think that
Nika,
you
what
have
percentage is saved?
I'm
retire?
thinking like the average Nigerian person. It's not me.
I know. I mean, what I mean is that how many percentage is saved from this money? Now, you see people who earn a particular amount of money. And all of a sudden, there is a review either by the government or minimum wage upgrade and this, and the money comes up. These people would leave that level they used to be and give themselves 10 times upgrade. Because, of course, you hear that they have reviewed money and their lifestyle would now immediately change. You are not meant to depend on your pensions alone.
Okay.
Now, there are several ways you can add value to yourself that might not be money. Most times when we talk about retirement, people think it's all about money upon retirement. If you don't have value, like he said, while you are in active service, you will not have value even when you retire. If you have value even in active service, on your retirement, you will still have value. We have people who are 80 who are still very productive, who are still board members in organizations, who are still offering services. So when we talk about retirement, people think it's about only when you are 60. We have people who don't retire at 60. They retire earlier than 60. And you still see these people depending on that mega amount of money without planning anything about with their life. You have to, because one of the times I spoke with the people, I asked them, what time do you close work? Because eventually they will have a lot. More of them, most of them were teachers. Most of them close by 2, 3.
So what do you do with your
And I asked a very simple question. This is an excluded environment, and I said, I want to eat moi moi. They say, you have to go to town. No, nobody sells moi moi around here. And I asked, how many women do we have here? I said, if I happen to bring moi moi here, would you all buy? Everybody said, why not?
Yes,
So why can't you do it?
So you are not seeing this business opportunity because it's not government. Everyone depends on the government for everything. And for as long as you depend on the government for salary review, for pension review, for everything, you become a burden to the government.
Okay. I open the emails that I get from my pension fund administrator. I open it up, and I have to admit, I see how much I have in savings. And then there's another column that says voluntary
contribution.
Exactly.
Is 0 naira.
So, you see, and there are too many people with
And
zero naira.
you would have used that voluntary contribution money to buy hair.
Yes.
And that's your premium to subscription, though.
I should still give more money after the one that has been taken out.
Live as you
Let me
plan.
give you an example.
Yeah.
You earn 100K a month. You put 10% every month for your retirement. That's 10K, right? 10K for 1 year is how much?
120.
120. Is that enough for you? Let's say you retire after that 1 year. Is that 120 enough for you to live your premium life?
No.
How do you expect to live that premium life when you're giving the bare minimum? But in reality, you live the higher end
on
of
the high end.
I think the question, the challenge is this. We need to pay attention to it. So, for example, you know the type of life you want to have in retirement. You write it, it's X per month.
Of course.
You know what is in your retirement savings account, it's X. You know how much you have, if any, in any other investment or savings, it's X. Then you ask the question that Zainab just asked, is what I have now, can it deliver me to that retirement that I want? And if the answer is no, then start to make additional plans today, whether it's in an additional voluntary contribution into your retirement savings account, it is some investments that you are doing, it is an enterprise that you set up on the side of your business or your career to create additional streams of income for you, or it is that you live beneath your means, which is what Chukma has been talking about. Rather than living, people say live within your means. I tell people no, it's to live beneath
your means.
If there was an opportunity to buy a big car, buy a smaller car.
When you say beneath my means, that means acts like I don't have money when I do.
That you don't have so much money. So if you could just buy groundnut, ordinary groundnut, not go and buy fancy nuts.
You could call it an example. You could also call it delayed gratification.
Yes.
See, I once had a boss, and then we just started our job, and they were given official cars. And I wanted to buy a car because my mates were buying car. And I had to listen to my boss. He called me and said, Chukuma, instead of you to go use this money to buy a car, use this money to do something, so thing. The company will give you a vehicle.
Okay.
Live your life within that means. Now let the money you would have used to service your vehicle, the money you would have used to buy the vehicle for your fuel, use it to do A, B, C, D. And I listened to my boss. It worked. There are people that will have official vehicle assigned to them. They also need to have their own car or madam's car or that car because they want to impress their society. Another thing that happened to me, at a point, there was this flare of I must go abroad, I must go abroad, I must go abroad.
Yes,
people want to go on vacation, people want to do this.
With the kids
and
all
it got
that.
onto me that I got one invitation to come and do one seminar abroad, and I wrote in my organization, and my then MD saw it and said, Chukuma, come on. It's like you've had money. Okay, if you have had money, your mates are buying land, go and buy land. I'm not signing and I'm not approving. Because she had looked at what I earn. And she knows that, why would you spend this because you want to go abroad? Calm down. A time will come when you have this money to go abroad.
Okay.
Now, people live beyond what they are having, and at the end of it all, they blame a whole lot of people around. They blame the government, they blame the system.
Yeah.
You cannot, if you're earning 30K today, you can have a pension that will make you sustain a life of 30K when you retire. It depends on how you maintain your life.
Okay.
You can't be earning 50,000 naira because your children, your neighbor's children are in a school of where they pay 250. And you know that your children can also go, can only go to school of 25, 30K. You said no, you push them there. and they are doing something in your church, you want to show that I belong also, you're living there. While you are working, you are pulling off what should have kept you a good retirement plan.
Okay.
So people should...
You always
have a
need
question. Okay.
that a sound human being in your ear at all times. I'm going to tell you a story. This happened to me 4 months ago. On a normal day, I spend a lot of money. I love buying shoes. I love buying bags. And we're talking about 1.2 million, 1.5, 1.8 million on a bag, 800K on a pair of shoes. It was my thing. So a friend of mine said to me, Z, what second-hand value do these things have? I said, I don't understand. I beg. Allow me to enjoy my life. I'm working hard for my money. But as I left there, it struck a chord in my head. And I said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. Every time I see a shoe and a bag that I want, I am going to act like I bought it. So I will take the money out of my account.
Okay.
And I will transfer it to another account that I don't have access
to.
So it looks like I have made the purchase. In my head, it looks like, oh, I have bought this shoe and I bought this bag. So I started doing that. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. By the time I got to the 4th month, I now looked at that account. And I saw the amount of money that was there. I said, hey, so this is how I've been wasting my whole life. And I literally took that money. It was enough for me to buy a plot of land in Abuja.
Truth is, people are there are lots of Z's in our society, either in the public sector or in the private sector. There are lots of Z's. Now, and it takes me back to our parents. Our mom, our dad then, who were teachers, were able to train us. And from the little money they were earning then, they were able to train graduates without owing. And you wouldn't come to your home, our homes then, and you wouldn't see food. Because they lived their lives based on what they had. You see someone who had always been a teacher, and all the children went to university and came out. And he or she is not indebted to any bank or anything. But because we try to borrow some culture from the Oyibos, and we call it the loan thing and the bank support thing, life changed. You see someone, you're doing salary advance, and you're not doing salary advance because there is pressure to that, but you're doing loan from your organization because you want to go for vacation. Who takes loan for vacation?
I know a few.
It's a lot of them are doing it. So you see people take loan to go vacation. People take loan for
to get married.
To go get married. When I tell people how it happened, I bought the drinks for my wedding on the morning of my wedding. My wife was wondering, how are we going to do it? I said, I am only taught that what makes a wedding is the man and his wife. You are here, I'm here, and we'll have our ring. That was what my sponsor told me. My sponsor said, Chikuma, don't go living above your means. Don't ever impress anybody. What makes a wedding is yourself, your wife, then your ring. And she said, okay, can we get our people to support? I said, I took a decision that I wasn't going to ask anybody anything for my wedding. I was fortunate. Then I wedded on the 24th of February, so it was a Saturday. On the 23rd was a Friday, and my alert came from the office because we usually get paid the last Friday. Yes, it came, and she didn't know. So that morning I had to squeeze out some money and give to my friends to go buy the drinks. And she was surprised to see drinks. She was like, how are you going to do this? I said, I am not living to impress anybody. But today, people borrow money to do elaborate wedding. And after that, they live on paying that debt till they retire.
20 million for his wedding.
Imagine that.
So today
I have a question about...
And the wedding is dead. The marriage is dead.
About percentages. The money in the retirement account, how much of it comes to you when you retire? How much of it is spread over the couple of years you have left?
Or the plenty years you have.
The plenty years you have left.
Well, the way the law, the pension law is very clear. It says that you can take a lump sum, provided that the balance in your account can procure for you a program withdrawal or an annuity that will give you at least 50% of your last income. So let's look at the figures here. So let's say you've got 20 million in your retirement savings account, and your last salary was 150,000.
Okay.
So the law says, let's assume that you will live for 20 years. Okay? 50% of your last salary, remember it's 150, is 75,000.
75,000, yes.
So we would set aside an amount that can give you 75,000 for 20 years. And then whatever is left, you can take it as a lump sum.
Okay. And that's law.
That's what the law says.
How long does it take for your pension fund administrator to give you that money?
Now, and there are certain issues. In the private sector, it can take the next payday.
Like this?
The next payday,
Private
that is
sector.
by the time you retire and you put in all your documents. The next payday, there's no break in transmission.
Yes.
Now, here's the challenge in the public sector. Again,
I've heard stories.
challenges in the...
Not private sector.
Not in the
Public-
private sector,
it's
in the
public
public
sector.
sector. So in government, here's the challenge. In 2005, when the law started, the implementation of the pension schemes started, the first thing the government had to do was to recognize the pension accrued liabilities. Another big word, the accrued rights of people. So for example, you started working in 1990. You worked for 15 years before the contributory pension scheme started, or 14 years, up to 2004.
Yes.
Now, there's a new scheme. Your old 14 years, Uncle, so government says, we calculated it and said this amount X is what the government owes you for those 14 years. Now, but the government didn't encash it. So it's a written IOU. I owe you X million. Now, the challenge is this. The truth is that in implementing the law so far, the government has many times failed to credit you with the IOU, to encash the IOU.
Okay.
So what happens now is that people retire. The money from 2004 to 2019 is in their accounts. But that money does not include their prior service. The money for the prior service needs to come from the government. If the government doesn't bring the money into that account, the pension fund administrator cannot calculate, because it's not the full money that is in.
Okay.
So now there is this process of waiting for and sometimes, from my recent experience, some of these monies have been outstanding for 2 years. Where the government
recently
has
it's about 11 months.
Yeah. So sometimes it's 15 months, 18 months, 11 months.
It takes a while.
Yeah. It takes a while. And it all is going back to what? The real issues about how we run our government, how the fiscal prudence in our society are priorities. Because you see, we spend money on many things, but we do not prioritize people's retirement benefits. And if we continue to run our society along those parameters, it is no surprise that people who are retiring are waiting for months, and sometimes more than a year, to be able to access their benefits.
Okay. And so I have another question to ask, just to follow up to what you said. So you've given me the lump sum. I have, in quote, plenty years, or I thought I had plenty years, and in Yoruba terms, they say, Odake, I go quiet.
Yes.
What happens to that money in the account, and how soon do I get it to my beneficiary or my next of kin?
That's in the event of your demise.
Yes.
So what happens is this, that if you choose, there are two options for withdrawal. You can either take a programmed withdrawal.
Okay, explain the program withdrawal. I also explain the annuity.
Yeah, you can take a programmed withdrawal. So let me focus on that, which is administered by your pension fund administrator. Yeah. At the point of your demise, the money is in your account. In fact, if you take a programmed withdrawal, you will still be getting an account statement the same way you are getting a statement while you are an active employee. So you will be seeing the balance on your account. Which is
also reinvested.
Which is continuously invested anyway.
Any day.
Yeah, so it is there, and it is so money is taken every month. You are being paid a pension, and then the balance on the money is continuously invested. So you'll be seeing your statements. Now, in the event of your demise, your next of kin should approach the pension fund administrator with the usual documents evidencing your death. And no, it's not a whole, it's so this is why I said retirement planning is also about financial literacy. One of the anchors of good financial literacy is preparing for your death. So do people have wills in Nigeria? A simple will can be, and we see, once we say will, people start shaking their head. They say they don't want to, I reject it. But remember what I said, there are things that are certain. You will work, you will die, you will retire.
Yes.
Certain. So prepare for it. So if you don't have a will and you die intestate, which means die without a will, it means that you have to get a letter of administration. That takes a bit of a process, but it shouldn't take that long. So long as there's no contest to your estate, you know. And if there isn't, you get the letter of administration, you bring the will, whatever it is, and you submit it. And the money will be disbursed to your named beneficiaries. Pronto.
What if my next of kin is under 18?
So your next of kin under 18 is not legally allowed to contract. So you have to have a legal representative of that. So it has to be somebody.
So my next of kin for my retirement account cannot be someone under 18. Is that what you're saying?
The person will have no legal ability to perform the role. You get the point. So, and these are things that people need.
Because I don't think people know that. People just put their children's names.
You can put but if you have it, your child would have a legal guardian upon your demise, isn't it? So it is that person that will come.
More paperwork.
Well, not really.
Not
really. Not really. It's quite straightforward.
Nick, don't make it look like it's paperwork.
I've heard stories, so
most times when you hear stories, ask them questions.
Yes.
What have you done?
What have you done?
What were you told?
Yes.
What point are you?
Yes. Yeah.
If you dig deep, you discover that the person hasn't done what is expected.
Yeah.
Most of them leave their position on assumption. They think that because this is this, and I've given this next of kin, you pay me. Remember that there is this issue of fraud. That if these things you call documents are not actually checked, people could take other people's benefits.
Yeah.
We've had cases where people come and two people come and present themselves as next of kin.
Yeah.
They bear the same name, they bear everything. So
you have to go through your due process.
Due diligence.
Yeah, and you will, and the PFA will be liable for making such a mistake.
If you don't do your due diligence, you pay base.
Yeah, and there are people, same people, Chukuma, who come and they did not die.
Of course.
They pretend that they have died.
Claim that they've died.
And so you have to do your investigation.
Money?
Of course.
Yes.
I'm worth more dead than alive. You're looking at your pension account and you're saying, you know what, if I can get away with some insurance or pension fraud, why not? So these are realities. So the system has to...
When people ask questions and say, when people come to you and complain, ask them. If you have time, follow them to their PFA.
Yeah.
You'll be shocked at what the revelation you get from the PFA point. Every PFA is out to serve better, not to frustrate. Exactly. But the picture that people give outside is that the PFAs are frustrated.
Yes.
No PFA frustrates. Just like when you go to your bank and you've not updated your signature and you want to withdraw your money, the bank will not pay you.
Yeah.
If your mandate is
your
wrong,
BVN is not there.
Yes, if your mandate is wrong,
Yeah.
irrespective of the fact that you are the one that opened the account and your passport is there, the bank will not pay you. Reason is because there are people they had done that who came back to say, I didn't come to withdraw this money.
Okay.
But if there was something we could all do better, clearly, is that the pension industry, the operators, the regulators, our entire society needs to invest much more in financial literacy. In educating people from as early on as possible about their rights and their responsibilities, so that it is not something that is happening at the lastminute.com.
Yes.
You know, it's not something that becomes a shock or a surprise to you. And I think that that's still the area that there is a big gap, that there is just not enough being done in terms of financial.
A lot of people
We're almost out of time. I just have one question that I'll ask Mishan Chukwuma real quick. How do I pick a PFA? How do I know a good PFA for people that are just starting?
I want to know that because I'm so scared.
Now, at the end of every financial year, the PENCOM has always listed out the names of PFAs and what each of the PFAs have returned every year.
Okay.
Now, most times, people look at PFAs based on the fact that this is the most prominent PFA they've heard. You know, that's the role of advert.
Yes.
But there are PFAs that are not too popular, but they are returning higher. They are giving you higher return.
Okay.
Now, what you look out for is this. First, which PFA, in choosing your PFA, which one would you have access to easily in the event that you have something to complain or you have something to do?
Okay.
Which of them also will return to you a higher investment?
Okay.
Which one will give you a higher return on investment? And the third one is, in the event that, I've said it, in the event that you move from a location to another location, would you need to come back to the headquarters to know? So what are the service standards they put in place? Because the pension thing is all about service and return on investment. Yeah. Service and return on investment. The PFA that will give you a good service and give you a higher return on investment go for them.
Okay.
Because as long as they give you that service and they're giving you good return on investment, you're good.
Okay. I would add to that and just say that from my experience, service-wise, the PFAs are all trying to compete with each other in terms of service.
Yes.
In terms of returns, to be honest, this on the spectrum between the PFA with the highest return and the one with the least return, I can assure you the difference in the figure will not be up to 2%.
Okay.
So I don't even think that those are very valuable things. You know, good service is almost taken for granted. I would have access to my account, I would get a statement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have offices, they have reps. For me, the key thing will be, what value is the PFA adding to my life? That I opened a retirement savings account at 21 years old. I am only able to access it when I am 60. In this journey, what has this PFA done for me? And that will be the challenge I would also throw to the pension industry to say, what value are you adding to me? What are you doing for me for the next 40 years? Are you educating me? Are you doing things that are engaging me? And if you are, that's the type of PFA I would like to do business with. Because, for example, if you were educating me and really helping me, I'm a business person, I'm an entrepreneur, I have a small business. So what is my PFA doing for me? Rather than just coming around and asking my staff, where's your contribution schedule on the 7th working day after every month? Yeah. That's not enough. What value are PFAs giving back to society? That is, for me, will be the most important. Because in terms of service and returns, I can almost take it for granted. Remember, the pension industry is almost immune from distress.
Yes.
So there is nothing that you will tell you that this PFA will be distressed. That one, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Pretty much immune, because the pension system is designed in a way that protects the RSA holders from the failure of a PFA. All of our monies are put in a separate custody account. So PFAs don't actually see money. So it's not about security that your money will lose. For me, the issue would be, what value is the PFA giving to me? And I would want to challenge my PFAs, all the PFAs, to add more value to people's lives.
Okay. Thank you, Chukwuma, Zee, and Bishe, for talking about retirement here in the conversation room. Thanks for joining us. It's been a really interesting topic. I still have more questions, and I'm sure once the camera goes off, I'll ask. If you have any comments or questions concerning retirement, our social media handles are available on the screen. So on behalf of everyone, goodbye and see you again.